Taewon wiped the grease from his hands and stared at the ship's control panel. The lights blinked in their usual pattern, showing everything was normal. His cargo ship, the Meridian's Hope, was 3 days into a routine supply run through the Vega corridor. He hauled mining equipment from one station to another. It was boring work, but that was exactly what he wanted. Boring meant safe. Boring meant no one died. The distress beacon changed everything. At first, he thought it was a mistake. His scanner picked up a weak signal about 2 hours away. Distress beacons were common enough in space, but most were false alarms or traps set by pirates. Taewon had learned to ignore them. He had learned to ignore a lot of things since the war ended, but this signal was different. It used an encryption pattern he had never seen before. The computer couldn't identify it. That made him curious, and curiosity was dangerous. He told himself to keep flying, to mind his own business. His hand moved toward the controls to continue on his route. Then the beacon sent a secondary pulse. This one was weaker, more desperate. Whoever sent it was dying. Taewon cursed under his breath and changed course. 2 hours later, he found the source. It was an escape pod, but not like any human design he had seen. The pod was elegant, made of a silver metal that seemed to glow with its own light. Beautiful patterns covered its surface, but half of them were dark now. The pod was dying, just like whoever was inside. His scanner showed 3 life signs. All of them were fading. Taewon brought his ship alongside the pod. The closer he got, the worse the damage looked. Something had attacked this pod with powerful weapons. Burn marks covered the hull. The airlock was broken. Atmosphere was leaking into space. He had maybe 10 minutes before the people inside suffocated. He suited up quickly and grabbed his repair kit. The airlock on his ship opened, and he stepped into the void. Space was silent and cold, just like always. He had done plenty of spacewalks during his military days, but it never got easier. One wrong move and you drifted forever. He reached the pod and examined the airlock. It was completely fried. The electronic controls were dead. He would have to open it manually, which meant exposing himself to the radiation leaking from the pod's failing power core. His suit's radiation counter started clicking faster. Taewon ignored it and got to work. He pulled out a plasma cutter and began cutting through the damaged airlock seal. His hands were steady even though his heart was pounding. Whoever was inside this pod was important. The technology was too advanced, too expensive for ordinary people. The seal broke. The airlock opened. Taewon pulled himself inside and immediately knew he was in trouble. 3 aliens lay inside the pod. They were humanoid, but clearly not human. Their skin was silver and smooth, covered with glowing patterns that pulsed weakly. The adult alien was a woman, tall and regal even while unconscious. She wore clothes that looked like they were made of liquid metal. Next to her were 2 younger aliens, a girl and a boy. The boy had a nasty wound on his side. Royalty. He had just found alien royalty. The woman's eyes opened. They were pure silver, with no pupils. She looked at him with fear and suspicion. Then she tried to speak, but her voice came out as a whisper in a language he didn't understand. "I'm here to help," Taewon said, knowing she probably couldn't understand him either. He pointed to his ship through the damaged airlock. "Safe. I'll take you somewhere safe." The woman looked at her children, then back at him. She nodded weakly. Taewon worked fast. He grabbed the boy first since he was injured. The kid was light, which helped. He carried him through the airlock and back to his ship. The radiation counter was screaming now. He ignored it. He went back for the girl, then finally for the woman. By the time he got all 3 of them inside his ship and sealed the airlock, his suit's radiation alarm was constant. He pulled off his helmet and carried each alien to the cargo bay. He had some emergency medical supplies there. Nothing fancy, but it would have to do. The boy was in the worst shape. Taewon cleaned the wound as best as he could and wrapped it in sterile bandages. He didn't know alien biology, but blood was blood. Stop the bleeding, prevent infection, keep them warm. The basics were universal. The woman watched him work. She was conscious now, sitting up and holding her daughter. Her silver eyes followed his every move. Taewon could feel her watching him, studying him. It made him uncomfortable. "You're safe now," he said, even though he wasn't sure that was true. He was about to say more when his ship's alarm started blaring. 3 ships had just appeared on his scanner. They were fast, military grade. They were also heading straight for him. Taewon ran back to the control room. His hands flew over the controls as he pulled up the scanner data. The 3 ships were definitely military, but they weren't human. They matched the same technology signature as the escape pod, which meant they were looking for the royal family he had just rescued. The woman appeared in the doorway behind him. She looked at the scanner and her face went pale. She said something in her language, and even without understanding the words, Taewon knew what she meant. Those ships were here to finish what they started. They were here to kill her and her children. "Hold on," Taewon said. He activated the engines and pushed them to full power. The Meridian's Hope wasn't a warship. It was a cargo hauler, slow and clumsy. But Taewon had been a military pilot once. He knew tricks that most cargo haulers never learned. The 3 enemy ships opened fire. Energy blasts lit up the darkness around them. Taewon threw the ship into a dive, using a nearby asteroid for cover. The blasts hit the asteroid instead, turning rock into dust. "Get back to the cargo bay and strap in," Taewon told the woman. "This is going to get rough." She didn't move. Instead, she stepped closer and put her hand on his shoulder. The moment she touched him, something strange happened. A feeling rushed through his mind, like cold water. He suddenly knew she understood him. He could feel her gratitude, her fear, and something else. Surprise. She pulled her hand back and looked at him with wide eyes. Then she hurried back to the cargo bay. Taewon focused on flying. The enemy ships were faster, but he knew these asteroids. He had mapped this route dozens of times. He flew between rocks that should have been impossible to navigate, making turns that should have torn his ship apart. The enemy ships tried to follow, but they were too cautious, too careful. One of them wasn't careful enough. It clipped an asteroid and spun out of control, exploding in a bright flash. 2 left. But Taewon's ship was taking damage. Warning lights filled the control panel. The engines were overheating. The hull had cracks in 3 places. He couldn't keep this up much longer. He needed a plan, and he needed 72 hours to repair his jump drive so they could escape to faster-than-light travel. 72 hours, with killers hunting them. Taewon set course for a nearby debris field where he could hide and make repairs. As he flew, he felt that strange, cold sensation in his mind again. This time he realized what it was. The alien woman was reading his thoughts somehow, and she was disturbed by what she found there. The debris field was perfect for hiding. Broken ships and shattered asteroids floated in a chaotic pattern that confused most scanners. Taewon guided his damaged ship deep into the mess and powered down everything except life support. The enemy ships passed by twice, searching, but they couldn't find him in all the metal and rock. Taewon used the time to make repairs. He crawled through access tubes, fixing damaged wiring and patching hull breaches. It was slow work. His ship wasn't built for combat, and the damage was worse than he thought. Every fix revealed 2 more problems. The alien woman helped him. She appeared next to him while he worked on a damaged power relay, startling him so badly he nearly dropped his tools. "You need to rest," Taewon said. "You almost died a few hours ago." She said something in her language. Then she touched his arm, and suddenly he understood her words in his mind. "My name is Lyra. I am queen of the Valoran people. My children are Princess Sora and Prince Kale." Taewon stared at her. A queen. He had rescued an actual queen. Great. I'm Taewon. I haul cargo. I know, Lyra said. I can see your thoughts when I touch you. The radiation from my ship's core did something to you, made you visible to my telepathic sense. This has never happened with humans before. That explained the cold sensation in his head. Can you read my mind right now? No, only when I touch you, and only surface thoughts and emotions. She paused. You are very sad. You carry much guilt. Taewon turned back to his work. That's none of your business. You are right. Forgive me. Lyra picked up a tool and examined it. Show me how to help with repairs. I am not useless. For the next 6 hours, they worked together. Lyra learned quickly. She was strong for someone who looked so delicate, and her hands were steady. Taewon found himself explaining human engineering to a queen, and she listened like an eager student. Sora, the teenage princess, appeared after a while. She was curious about everything. She asked questions about Earth, about human food, about why human ships looked so different from Velaran ones. Taewon answered patiently while working. It felt strange to have company again. He had been alone on his ship for 3 years. Kyle, the young prince, was still recovering from his injury. Taewon checked on him regularly. The boy was tough. He never complained about the pain, just watched Taewon with curious eyes. On the second day, Sora asked the question Taewon had been waiting for. Why were you alone out here? Don't humans travel in groups? Not all of us, Taewon said. But you were a soldier. I saw it in Mother's memories of your thoughts. You had a whole crew once. Taewon stopped working. Your mother shouldn't share my private thoughts. She didn't mean to. I'm telepathic, too. When she thinks about something strongly, I can sense it. Sora sat down next to him. What happened to your crew? Taewon was quiet for a long time. Then he said, I made a mistake, led them into an ambush. 23 people died because I didn't see the trap. I was the only survivor. And now you fly alone so no one else can die because of you, Sora said softly. That's very sad and very stupid. Sora, Lyra's voice was sharp. Apologize. No, she's right, Taewon said. He almost smiled. It is stupid, but it's my stupid choice. Later that night, while Lyra's children slept, she found Taewon in the control room. He was drinking coffee and staring at the scanner. The enemy ships were still out there, searching in a pattern. They will find us eventually, Lyra said. My brother-in-law, Duke Varen, is very determined. He wants my throne, so he sent assassins after you. Yes, he killed my husband 6 months ago, made it look like an accident. Now he wants to marry me to make his claim to the throne legitimate. When I refused, he decided to eliminate me and my children. Lyra sat down next to him. I escaped with my children, but he found us anyway. If you had not heard our beacon... Don't think about that, Taewon said. You're alive. Your kids are alive. That's what matters. You don't understand, Varen will not stop. He will hunt us across the galaxy, and anyone who helps us becomes his enemy. She looked at him seriously. You should leave us somewhere and go. You've done enough. No. No? We stay together. Those ships out there will find us in another day, maybe 2. When they do, I want to be ready. Taewon pulled up a star chart. There's a human outpost 3 days from here, Haven Station. My old commander runs it. If we can reach it, we'll have help. 3 days is too long. We have perhaps 1 day before they find us. Then we don't run. Taewon smiled, and it wasn't a nice smile. We fight. He explained his plan. Lyra listened with growing disbelief. It was reckless, dangerous, and relied on pure human stubbornness. It was also their best chance. The next morning, Taewon started dumping cargo containers. He modified them with proximity sensors and some spare explosives from his emergency kit. They weren't proper mines, but they would explode if something got too close. He placed them in a pattern through the debris field, creating a trap. When the enemy ships came back that afternoon, Tae-wan was ready. He powered up his engines and let them see him. The ships immediately changed course and gave chase. Tae-wan flew straight into his trap. The enemy ships were fast and confident. They thought they had him. Tae-wan led them through the debris, making it look like he was panicking, making mistakes. He flew close to his hidden containers, so close that Lyra gripped her seat in fear. At the perfect moment, Tae-wan triggered the mines. Explosions lit up the debris field. One enemy ship flew directly into a blast and was torn apart. The second ship tried to dodge, but hit a large piece of debris. Its shields failed. Tae-wan spun his ship around and fired his mining laser, the only weapon he had. The laser was meant for cutting rock, but it cut through the damaged ship just fine. 2 ships down, 1 to go. The third ship was more careful. It stayed back and fired from a distance. Energy blasts hammered Tae-wan's ship. Alarms screamed. Hull breaches appeared faster than he could fix them. "I'm going to try something crazy," Tae-wan told Lyra. "Tell your kids to hold on to something." He flew straight at a massive piece of broken station, a chunk of metal the size of a building. At the last second, he dove underneath it. The enemy ship followed. Tae-wan had studied this piece of debris during his repairs. He knew it was unstable, barely held together. He fired his mining laser at the debris's weak points. The entire chunk broke apart. Huge pieces of metal flew in every direction. The enemy ship tried to escape, but there was too much debris moving too fast. Metal crashed into metal. The ship's shields overloaded and it exploded. Tae-wan's ship wasn't much better. The explosions had damaged his engines badly. Warning lights covered every panel. Life support was failing. They were alive, but they wouldn't stay that way for long. "We need to reach Haven Station," Tae-wan said. His voice was calm, even though his hands were shaking. "Can you send a message? Call for help?" "I have an emergency beacon," Lyra said. "But if I use it, Varen's forces will detect it. More ships will come." "How long until they arrive?" 3, maybe 4 days. "Then we use the beacon. We'll reach Haven Station in 3 days if the engines hold. Varen's ships won't catch us in time." Tae-wan looked at her. "Do you trust me?" Lyra met his eyes. Through their strange connection, she could feel his determination, his refusal to give up. She could also feel his fear, but he wasn't afraid for himself. He was afraid of failing her, of letting her children die. "Yes," she said. "I trust you." She activated her emergency beacon. Within seconds, it broadcast their location across space. Every Velaran ship in 3 systems would know where they were. Tae-wan set course for Haven Station and pushed his damaged engines as hard as they would go. Behind them, more enemy ships were already coming. It was going to be a very close race. The journey to Haven Station should have taken 3 days. With damaged engines, it took 4. Every hour felt like an eternity. Tae-wan lived in the engine room, fixing things as they broke. The ship held together through sheer stubbornness and luck. Lyra spent those days learning about humans. She watched how Tae-wan worked, never giving up even when things seemed hopeless. She watched how he was patient with Sora's endless questions and gentle with Kale's recovery. She had ruled her people for over 300 years, but this human taught her things she had never considered. On the second day, Sora discovered human music. She found Tae-wan's old music files and played them through the ship's speakers. The songs were strange to Valoran ears, full of emotion and chaos instead of the ordered harmonies of her people. "This one is called rock music," Tae-wan explained. "Humans made it to express rebellion and freedom." "It's wonderful," Sora said, moving to the rhythm. "It feels alive." Kale recovered enough to leave the medical bay. He found Tae-wan exercising in the cargo hold, doing push-ups and practicing hand-to-hand combat moves. The prince watched with fascination. "Teach me," Kyle said. You're still healing. I'm bored, and I want to learn how humans fight. Not with fancy energy weapons, but with your hands. Taewon smiled and spent the next hour teaching the prince basic self-defense. Kale was a quick learner, and he had natural talent. They sparred carefully, Taewon always mindful of the boy's injury. "Why do humans fight like this?" Kyle asked. "Your bodies are weaker than ours. Our technology is better." "Because weapons can be taken away," Taewon said. "Technology can fail. But if you know how to fight with your body, no one can take that from you. Besides, fighting isn't always about strength. It's about being smart and never giving up." Kale thought about this seriously. "You're different from what I thought humans would be. The stories say humans are primitive and emotional." "We are emotional," Taewon admitted, "but that's not always a bad thing." Meanwhile, the telepathic connection between Taewon and Lyra grew stronger. The radiation exposure had permanently changed something in his brain. Now she could sense his emotions even without touching him. And sometimes, when she was very close, he could sense hers too. On the third night, Taewon was working on a stuck valve when frustration overwhelmed him. He slammed his hand against the wall, immediately regretting it. Lyra appeared moments later. "You're in pain," she said. "It's nothing. Just hit my hand wrong." She took his hand gently and examined it. Her touch sent that cold sensation through his mind, but this time it wasn't unpleasant. It was almost soothing. "You push yourself too hard. You haven't slept in 2 days. Someone has to keep this ship flying. Not alone. You're always alone, even when surrounded by people." Lyra looked into his eyes. "I felt your memories, the ambush that killed your crew. You blame yourself." Taewon pulled his hand away. "I was the commander. It was my responsibility. You walked into a trap. How could you have known?" "I should have known. I should have been more careful. I should have—" His voice broke. "I should have saved them." Lyra did something unexpected. She pulled him into an embrace. For a Velaran queen, touching an inferior species like this was unthinkable. But she didn't care about protocol. She felt his pain through their bond, and it hurt her to feel it. "Listen to me," she said softly. "You could not save them, but you saved us. My children are alive because of you. I am alive because of you. You are not a failure. You are a hero." Taewon stood stiffly in her embrace. He hadn't been hugged by anyone in 3 years. It felt strange and uncomfortable and necessary. Slowly, his arms came up and hugged her back. They stood like that for a long moment. Then Taewon gently stepped back. "Thank you, but I'm not a hero. I'm just a cargo hauler who was in the right place at the right time." "You're wrong," Lyra said, "but I won't argue. Get some sleep. I'll watch the controls." "You don't know how to—" "Then teach me." So Taewon taught a Valoran queen how to monitor a human cargo ship's control systems. She learned quickly, asking intelligent questions. They sat together in the control room, and for the first time in years, Taewon didn't feel alone. Late that night, unable to sleep, Lyra found herself thinking about this strange human. Her people viewed humans as interesting but lesser beings. They were young, emotional, and technologically primitive. Yet Taewon had saved her when her own people had failed to protect her. He had fought off superior forces with inferior weapons. He had asked for nothing in return. Through their bond, she felt his dreams. He was dreaming about his lost crew, reliving the ambush. She felt his guilt, his pain, his desperate wish to go back and change what happened. Without thinking, she sent a feeling of comfort through the bond, trying to ease his nightmare. Taewon woke up suddenly. He found Lyra sitting in the chair next to his bunk, her hand extended toward him. "Sorry," she said. "Your dream was so painful. I wanted to help." It's fine. Taewon sat up. Does it bother you? Being connected to a human like this? Lyra was quiet for a moment. At first, yes. Valorans believe we are superior to other species. We keep to ourselves. We don't form bonds with outsiders. But now, she touched his hand, and her emotions flooded through the connection. Respect, admiration, gratitude, and something else, something she didn't want to name yet. Now I understand, she continued, that we were wrong. You humans have something we lost long ago. You feel everything so deeply. You care so much. You never give up even when logic says you should. It's beautiful and terrifying. We're all so stubborn and reckless, Taewon said with a small smile. Yes, that too. Lyra smiled back. But I find I admire those qualities. They talked through the rest of the night. Lyra told him about her loveless political marriage, about the loneliness of ruling an empire. Taewon told her about growing up on Earth, about joining the military to explore space, about the friends he had lost. They shared their fears and hopes, two people from different worlds finding unexpected understanding. As dawn broke on the ship's artificial day-night cycle, Sora found them still talking. She smiled knowingly but said nothing. On the fourth day, Haven Station appeared on the scanner. It was a rough place, a collection of human habitats built around an old asteroid mining station. But to Taewon, it looked like home. He sent a message ahead. Haven Station, this is cargo vessel Meridian's Hope requesting emergency docking. Tell Commander Wu Jin that Taewon is coming in and I need help. The response came back immediately. Taewon? Is that really you? Get your butt in here. Bay 7 is open. Wu Jin was waiting when they docked. He was a big man with gray hair and sharp eyes that saw everything. When Taewon opened the airlock and Lyra stepped out with her children, Wu Jin's eyes went very wide. Taewon, he said slowly, why do you have Velaran royalty on your cargo ship? It's a long story. I bet it is. Wu Jin looked at Lyra and bowed respectfully. Your Majesty, welcome to Haven Station. Though I should warn you, Duke Varen has put a bounty on you. Every mercenary and hunter in 3 systems is looking for you. We know, Lyra said. That's why we need your help. Wu Jin laughed. You came to the right place. Any enemy of that Varen is a friend of mine. Come on, let's get you somewhere safe. They started walking toward the station interior. Taewon felt relief flood through him. They had made it. They were safe, at least for now. Then an explosion rocked the docking bay. A bounty hunter had been waiting. He recognized the Queen and opened fire. More hunters appeared from hiding spots. They had been watching the station, waiting. Wu Jin pulled out his weapon and started firing. Get them to safety, he shouted at Taewon. Taewon grabbed Sora and Kyle and ran. Lyra ran beside him. Energy blasts lit up the bay. People screamed and scattered. Taewon led them through corridors he knew by heart, heading for Wu Jin's secure command center. A bounty hunter stepped out in front of them, weapon raised. Taewon shoved Lyra behind him, putting himself between her and the gun. The hunter smiled and pulled the trigger. The blast hit Taewon in the chest. He fell. The last thing he heard before darkness took him was Lyra screaming his name. Taewon woke up slowly. Everything hurt. His chest felt like someone had hit it with a hammer. He tried to sit up and immediately regretted it. Don't move, a familiar voice said. You nearly died. He opened his eyes. Lyra sat beside his bed. She looked terrible, like she hadn't slept in days. Her silver skin was pale, and her glowing patterns were dim. How long was I out? Taewon asked. 3 days. The bounty hunter's blast should have killed you, but your body armor absorbed most of it. You have broken ribs and severe burns. The human doctors said you're lucky to be alive. Lyra took his hand. I thought I lost you. Through their bond, Taewon felt her emotions. Fear, relief, and something deeper, something that scared her. Your kids? He asked. Safe. Wu Jin secured them in his command center. The bounty hunters are dead or captured. She squeezed his hand. You saved us again. You put yourself between me and that weapon without hesitation. Of course I did. Why? Lyra asked. You could have died. Why would you throw away your life for me? Tae-wan was quiet for a moment. Then he said, Because I couldn't watch you die. Because in these few days, you and your kids became important to me. Because... He stopped, not sure how to finish. Because you care about us, Lyra finished softly. The way you cared about your crew. You formed these deep connections with people, and you would die for them without thinking. It's a human thing. We're emotional and stupid that way. No, it's a you thing, and it's not stupid. Lyra stood up. Rest now. We'll talk later. Over the next 2 days, Tae-wan recovered in Haven Station's medical bay. Sora and Kale visited constantly, telling him stories and bringing him terrible station food that they thought was interesting. Wu Jin came by to update him on the situation. Duke Varen's forces are coming, Wu Jin said. We intercepted their communications. He's sending his elite guard, the Crimson Swords. They'll be here in 2 days. We need to evacuate the Queen and her kids before then. Where can they go? Tae-wan asked. Nowhere. Varen has bounty hunters everywhere. Every system has his spies. The moment they leave this station, they're dead. Wu Jin sat down heavily. Unless what? The Queen is talking about invoking some old Valoran law, something about a life debt bond. She asked me about human marriage customs. Wu Jin looked at Tae-wan seriously. What did you do to that woman? I don't know what you're talking about. She hasn't left your side since you got shot. She barely eats or sleeps, and the way she looks at you... Wu Jin shook his head. A Valoran queen, looking at a human cargo hauler like that. Never thought I'd see the day. After Wu Jin left, Tae-wan thought about his words. Through the bond, he could feel Lyra's presence somewhere in the station. Her emotions were conflicted, torn between duty and something else. That evening, Lyra came to see him. She stood in the doorway for a long moment before entering. I need to tell you something, she said. There is an ancient Valoran law called the Right of Vaseth. When someone saves royal lives multiple times at great personal cost, the monarch may claim them as a bonded consort. It's the highest honor in our culture. Tae-wan sat up carefully. What does that mean? It means a permanent telepathic bond, a partnership equal to marriage but deeper. Our minds would be connected forever. You would become royalty, equal in status to me. You would help me rule. Lyra met his eyes. I want to invoke this law. I want to claim you as my consort. The room was very quiet. Why? Tae-wan finally asked. Because Duke Varen's claim to the throne is based on political tradition. But if I have a bonded consort, especially one who saved my life, it proves I'm strong enough to rule. It challenges his legitimacy. And, she paused, because I have feelings for you. Real feelings. In these days together, you showed me what true partnership means. Not political games or empty tradition, but real trust and sacrifice. Tae-wan's mind was racing. I'm nobody. I'm a failed commander who hauls cargo. I know nothing about ruling an empire. You know about loyalty. You know about sacrifice. You know how to lead people through impossible situations. Those are the things that matter. Lyra sat beside him. But I won't force this. If you refuse, I'll understand. You would be tied to me forever. You could never return to your simple life. You would be part of my world, with all its dangers and politics. Through their bond, Tae-wan felt her sincerity. She loved him. This proud queen who viewed humans as lesser beings had fallen in love with him, and if he was honest with himself, he had feelings for her too. She was strong, intelligent, and underneath her royal mask, she was kind. "I need time to think," he said. Lyra nodded and left. That night, Wu Jin visited again. "She told you about the bonding thing, didn't she? How did you know?" "Because I know you, and I know that look on your face. You're going to refuse because you think you don't deserve it." Wu Jin sat down. "Listen to me, Taewon. You've been punishing yourself for 3 years because of one mistake. You couldn't save your crew, but you saved this royal family. You gave them hope, and for the first time since I've known you, you seem alive again. I'm a broken man. We're all broken in some way. The question is, do you want to stay broken, or do you want to heal?" Wu Jin stood up. "That queen is offering you a purpose, a family, a chance to matter again. Don't throw it away because you're afraid." After Wu Jin left, Taewon lay in the dark, thinking. Then Sora appeared in his doorway. "Can I come in?" she asked. "Sure." She sat on the edge of his bed. "Mother told us about the bonding ceremony. Kyle and I want you to say yes." "Why?" "Because you make her happy. I've never seen her smile like she does around you. And because you're already part of our family. You just need to make it official." Sora took his hand. "You taught Kyle about fighting with honor. You taught me about human courage. You taught Mother about trust. We need you." The next morning, Taewon asked to see Lyra. When she arrived, he said, "I have conditions. Name them. If I become your consort, I won't be a figurehead. I'll actively help you reclaim your throne. I'll teach your soldiers human tactics. I'll bring human allies. And I'll prove that humans deserve respect as equals to Valorans." Lyra smiled. "Agreed. Then yes, I'll bond with you." The ceremony was performed in Wu Jin's secure command center, with only Sora, Kale, and Wu Jin as witnesses. Lyra explained that the bonding required them to fully open their minds to each other. It would be permanent and irreversible. They sat facing each other. Lyra placed her hands on either side of Taewon's face. He felt the familiar cold sensation, but this time it grew stronger and stronger until it wasn't cold anymore. It was warm. It was overwhelming. His mind merged with hers. He experienced her entire life in moments. 300 years of memories, emotions, triumphs, and failures. He felt her loneliness ruling an empire. He felt her pain losing her husband even though she didn't love him. He felt her fear for her children, and he felt her love for him, pure and strong. At the same time, she experienced his life. Every moment, every memory, every emotion. She felt his joy and his pain. She understood why he blamed himself for his crew's death. She saw the man he truly was, not the broken shell he pretended to be. When the bonding was complete, they separated physically, but remained connected mentally. Taewon could feel Lyra's presence in his mind like a warm light. He knew where she was, what she felt, even what she thought if she let him sense it. "How do you feel?" Lyra asked. "Complete," Taewon said. "Like I found something I didn't know I was missing." Sora and Kyle rushed forward to hug them both. Wu Jin smiled and shook Taewon's hand. "Congratulations, you're royalty now. Try not to let it go to your head." The moment was interrupted by alarms. Wu Jin's face went serious. "They're here. Varen's forces just dropped out of faster-than-light travel. The Crimson Swords are coming." News of the bonding had already spread. Within hours, it reached Duke Varen. His response came as a broadcast to the entire station. "Queen Lyra has contaminated the royal bloodline by bonding with an inferior human," Varen's voice announced. "Her claim to the throne is void. I declare myself Emperor of the Valoran people. Any who harbor her will be considered enemies of the Empire. I give Haven Station 2 hours to surrender her, or we will destroy it completely." Taewon looked at Lyra. Through their bond, he felt her determination. They weren't running anymore. "We fight," Taewon said. We fight, Lyra agreed. The final battle was coming. The command center of Haven Station was chaos. Wu Jin's people rushed around, preparing weapons and reinforcing shields. Outside, Duke Varen's fleet gathered like dark clouds before a storm. Everyone knew they were outmatched. Taiwan studied the tactical display. Varen had brought 5 warships and his elite crimson swords. Haven Station had mining lasers and desperate people. It wasn't a fair fight. We can't win this, Wu Jin said. Even if we evacuate, his ships will hunt down every escape pod. Then we don't fight his way, Taiwan said. He turned to Lyra. Your people have laws about succession, right? Ways to challenge a false ruler? Yes. The trial of sovereignty, single combat with chosen champions to determine rightful rule. Lyra understood immediately, but Varen would never accept. He has superior forces. Why would he risk combat? Because if he refuses, everyone sees him as a coward. It proves his claim is weak. Taiwan smiled. And we broadcast it across your entire empire. Make it public. Lyra thought about this. Through their bond, Taiwan felt her mind working through the possibilities. Then she smiled too. It could work, but the trial isn't single combat. Each side chooses 5 champions. And Varen's crimson swords are legendary warriors. We have refugees and broken soldiers. We have something better, Taiwan said. We have humans and Velerans working together. That's never happened before. Within an hour, they sent the challenge. Lyra's message was broadcast on every frequency, transmitted to every Veleran world. Duke Varen claims the throne through force and fear, Lyra said. I claim it through law and honor. I challenge him to the trial of sovereignty. 5 champions against 5. Broadcast live so all our people can witness, unless he fears facing me. The response came quickly. Varen's face appeared on every screen, angry and arrogant. You dare challenge me? Very well, I accept. But know this, false queen. When you lose, you and your human pet will die slowly. My crimson swords will destroy your pathetic champions. He smiled coldly. The trial will take place in 6 hours on neutral ground. Prepare to lose everything. Taiwan and Lyra assembled their team. Wu Jin volunteered immediately. I'm old and slow, but I can still shoot straight. Commander Nari, a Veleran warrior who had secretly remained loyal to Lyra, came out of hiding on the station. She was a master of energy blade combat, graceful and deadly. Kai Te, a young human pilot and tech specialist who had worked with Taiwan years ago, joined them. I'm better with computers than weapons, but I'll do my part. The 5th champion was unexpected. Princess Sora stepped forward. Absolutely not, Lyra said. Mother, I'm of age by Veleran law. I have the right to fight for my throne. Sora's voice was firm. Besides, you need 5 champions. You don't have anyone else. Through the bond, Taiwan felt Lyra's fear and pride mixing together. She didn't want to risk her daughter, but Sora was right. They had no choice. Fine, Lyra said, but you stay close to Taiwan during the fight. The trial grounds were on a large asteroid that had been hollowed out for exactly this purpose. Ancient Valoran tradition required neutral space for succession battles. The arena was circular, filled with obstacles and platforms. Cameras surrounded everything, broadcasting to billions of viewers across the empire. Taiwan's team arrived first. Varen came second, with his 4 Crimson Sword warriors. They wore red armor that seemed to absorb light. Their weapons were elegant energy blades that hummed with power. They looked like death. Varen himself was tall and powerful, his silver skin marked with battle scars. He looked at Lyra with contempt. You brought a child and humans to face my elite warriors? This will be over quickly. We'll see, Taiwan said. The rules were explained. The fight continued until one side surrendered or died. No outside interference. The winner took the throne. The battle began. Varen's warriors attacked immediately, confident and coordinated. They moved like dancers, their telepathic connection allowing perfect teamwork. But Taewon had prepared for this. "Pattern Delta!" he shouted. His team scattered, moving to positions they had practiced for hours. The Crimson Swords expected them to fight in formation, but humans didn't need telepathy. They used hand signals, quick calls, and most importantly, trust. Kite immediately started hacking the arena's systems. The lights flickered. Environmental controls went haywire. It wasn't much, but it broke the Crimson Sword's concentration. Wu Jin used his heavy weapons to create cover fire, forcing the enemy warriors to dodge. While they were distracted, Nari attacked from an unexpected angle. Her energy blade clashed with a Crimson Sword's weapon. They were evenly matched in skill, but she fought with passion while he fought with arrogance. Sora surprised everyone. She was young and inexperienced, but Taewon had taught her to use that. She pretended to be afraid, drawing one warrior toward her. When he got close, she used a simple human fighting trick Taewon had shown her. She tripped him, and while he was off balance, she struck with her weapon. One Crimson Sword down. Varen's face showed shock. Then anger. He joined the battle himself, attacking with brutal efficiency. He targeted Taewon, recognizing him as the leader. "You're just a human," Varen said as they fought. "Weak, primitive, you don't belong in our world." "Maybe," Taewon said, dodging a strike, "but I'm here anyway." Their weapons clashed. Varen was stronger and faster, but Taewon was creative. He used the environment, making Varen fight on human terms. He threw debris, used unexpected angles, and refused to follow the elegant rules of Valoran combat. Meanwhile, Lyra fought alongside her team. Through their bond, she and Taewon coordinated perfectly. She knew where he was, what he needed, and she provided it. When two Crimson Swords tried to attack him from behind, she was there to block them. The tide of battle shifted. Wu Jin took a bad hit protecting Nari, but his sacrifice allowed her to defeat another Crimson Sword. Kite's tech tricks kept the enemy off balance. Sora fought with unexpected ferocity, proving she was her mother's daughter. Soon it was down to Varen and one Crimson Sword against Taewon, Lyra, Nari, and Sora. The numbers were against them. Varen attacked Lyra directly, trying to end this quickly. His blade moved faster than human eyes could follow, but Lyra wasn't alone. Through their bond, Taewon sensed what she needed. He moved at the exact right moment, blocking Varen's strike. They fought together, moving as one person with two bodies. Lyra anticipated Taewon's moves. He trusted her completely. Their bond was their greatest weapon. Nari and Sora handled the last Crimson Sword together, combining Valoran technique with human unpredictability. The warrior couldn't adapt fast enough. He fell. Now it was just Varen against all of them. "You can surrender," Lyra said. "I don't want to kill you." "Never," Varen snarled. "I am the rightful emperor." He attacked with desperate fury, but he was outnumbered and tired. Taewon saw an opening and took it. He used a simple human grappling move, something no Valoran would ever expect in an elegant blade fight. He grabbed Varen's weapon arm and twisted. Varen dropped his blade. Taewon kicked it away. Lyra's weapon was at Varen's throat. The arena was silent. Billions watched across the empire. "Yield," Lyra commanded. Varen stared at her with pure hatred, but he was defeated, and he knew it. "I yield." Lyra could have killed him. Valoran law would have allowed it, but she remembered Taewon's lessons about mercy and second chances. "I exile you from Valoran space," Lyra announced. "Leave and never return. Your title and lands are forfeit." The broadcast ended. Within hours, the response came from across the empire. Valoran nobles who had secretly opposed Varen declared their loyalty to Lyra. The military stood down. The coup was over. Lyra was queen again, but something had changed. The broadcast showed humans and Valorans fighting together as equals. It showed a human as the Queen's bonded consort. The old ways of thinking were breaking. 1 year later, Taiwan stood on the palace balcony of the Velaran homeworld. Twin suns set over an alien landscape of silver trees and crystal mountains. It was beautiful and strange, just like his new life. Lyra joined him, wrapping her arms around him from behind. Through their bond, he felt her contentment and love. "What are you thinking about?" she asked. "About how much has changed. A year ago, I was hauling cargo and trying to forget I existed. Now I'm helping run an empire." Having regrets? Not even a little. Things had changed across both their civilizations. Sora was studying at a human university on Earth, the first Veloran to do so. She sent messages every week about how fascinating humans were. Kyle trained with both human and Velaran military forces, working to create a joint peacekeeping unit. Wujin had recovered from his injuries and now served as ambassador to the Velaran Empire, with Nari as his liaison. Together they built bridges between two species that had always kept apart. Taiwan worked with Lyra every day, bringing human perspectives to Veloran problems. Some nobles still didn't accept a human consort, but they couldn't argue with results. Trade increased. Technology sharing benefited both species. Conflicts that had simmered for years found peaceful solutions. "Kite sent a message," Lyra said. "He found your old crew members' families, helped them with the compensation claims that were stuck in bureaucracy for years." Taiwan felt emotion tighten his throat. "Thank you for that. You couldn't save them, but you've honored their memory. You've done something good with your second chance." She turned him to face her. "You've done something amazing." Through their bond, Taiwan felt her pride, her love, and her absolute certainty that he belonged here beside her. "I love you," he said. The words came easily now. "I know," Lyra smiled. "I can feel it, and I love you too." They stood together watching the alien sunset, two people from different worlds who found each other in the darkness of space. Taiwan had spent years running from his past, punishing himself for one mistake, but Lyra had shown him that mistakes didn't define you. Actions did, choices did, love did. He had rescued an alien royal family and found a purpose. He had faced impossible odds and discovered he was stronger than he knew. He had opened his heart to love again and found it was worth the risk. The Queen had claimed him for herself, but the truth was simpler. They had claimed each other. And together they were building something neither species could have built alone, a future where humans and Velarans stood as equals, a future built on trust, respect, and the bond between two unlikely people who proved that love knew no boundaries. Sora's voice came through the communication system. "Mother, Taiwan, you have to see this. Earth News just broadcast a story about the bonded queen and her human consort. They're calling it the greatest love story in the galaxy." Taiwan laughed. "That's embarrassing." "No," Lyra said, pulling him close. "That's perfect." And standing there with the woman he loved, surrounded by family he had found and a purpose he had earned, Taiwan finally believed he deserved to be happy. The stars shined bright above them, full of endless possibilities, and for the first time in years, Taiwan looked at them with hope instead of pain. His journey had brought him from the darkness of guilt to the light of love, from isolation to family, from a man who thought he had nothing left to offer to a consort who helped rule an empire. He had saved the alien royal family, but in the end, they had saved him too.